Hey Carter, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Ugh. Oh no. Music's playing for some reason. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. It was really enjoyable. I didn't really go kayaking, but we made signs for the local animal shelters paddle charity run. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was. Okay, make sure I turn my sound on. That'd be good. Sorry, I'm just setting up the stream. There we are. Okay. Let's see what we can do to increase performance on this a bit. Okay, now hopefully that will increase the power a lot more. drive belt. Ooh, lost it. Okay. I'm a pro. Yeah. The only part of this game where they kind of need to figure out how to make it a little more realistic is like the ability to drift. Punching it into third and ripping down on the gas should allow me to break traction enough to be able to kick my car sideways and maintain a line. One would surmise. Okay, so I need a better tachometer and a better speedometer wouldn't hurt none. No drive belt. We're just going to run on the bad serpentine belt and make sure that we put enough juice into the battery before the race. Oh wait, I gotta put those parts on. Oof. That figures. Okay, I gotta go back to my garage and get some money. Enough to place a bet. It's okay, I'll just get rid of that V6 engine. I don't plan on running it in anything else anyway. Too little power. I feel like they try to push the V6s by giving them away for prizes, like a lot, and V6 parts for prizes a lot. But it's kind of weird. It's something I've noticed in games. They always try to overly push you to use the parts that won't do you any good, right? Like the V6 engine is the most worthless engine in this game, right? You can go down to an SL6 or, you know, an inline and get more power and more response and more adaptability and the lowest platform engine they have on this game over the V6. And to me, it's absolutely silly. It's kind of like having to buy a whole differential when the yoke on the inside is actually what controls the gears. So like, for example, if I wanted to change out my gear ratio, I would just slap off the 8 bolts that are supposed to be around here, not the 3, because they got 1, 2, and 3 for some weird reason. And I would just replace the center yoke. Like, I wouldn't have to replace the whole gear ratio. It's kind of like how in the transmission, all you have to do to change out your gearing is to just put a different one of the 6 gears, 6 to 5 gears in here, or, you know, 8 gears, or whatever the case may be, depending on how many gears you have in your transmission. There's a large, small, large, small, large, small, large, small, clutch plate, flywheel, and stuff like that. But instead, they make you replace out the whole transmission, which I can kind of understand because that would be too in-depth. But to sit there and be like, okay, well, I want to get a different rear end, that wouldn't be. So I don't understand why they decided to go with this over, or go with replacing this whole unit rather than just replacing the gear ratio. Or even just add like a tuner section, right? Like if you buy like the high performance rear end, just having a tuner section you can click on and be like, okay, I want to bring down my gear ratio. I want to space out my acceleration. I would like more horsepower, or more high top speed than acceleration. Or I would like more top speed if you want to drift, or more acceleration if you want to drift, or whatever the case may be. Sorry, I know I get a little bit critical. It's just something that's a bit agitating. It's kind of like forcing into this body style and not offering anything that I could like put onto here, but then at the same point have wheels that will come out to here, but no body kit that I can put on to like kind of close that gap, or even bring in the wheel more so that it's not cutting through the fender wells, or even add an adjustable shocks just to make it so like the wheel isn't going through my fender well. It's kind of silly, in my opinion. What did I come here to do? Oh, I got sidetracked. Yeah, I need some of my V6. That one can't be fixed, so we're gonna get rid of that one. Okay, Yanigan. I didn't realize there were 2 racetracks in Yanigan. I also wish they had more pink slip races. Like, I wish they had curved races that were pink slip races so that you could actually lose your car, like, just not for top speed punching. Because the tiers of pink slip races go from unbeatable to incredibly beatable, rather than progressively getting harder. Which is absolutely silly to me. Like, the first one should be, like, kind of difficult, but not really that difficult. The second one should be a little bit more difficult, and then a little bit more difficult. And, like, or even do, like, easy ones that give you, like, jalopies for cars or something like that. A simple change that would make such a huge difference. Oh, that grass is like driving on ice. Yeah, it's because I have a bad gear ratio in my car, so I can top out without actually running through all my engine power. Oh, that's great. Looks like we're doing the rest of this race without headlights. So like I can't actually top out my car because I'm running out of gear ratio. Of course, it doesn't help that my car can get damaged, but their cars are absolutely invincible. I better actually just forfeit from this race so I don't... Yeah, I'm gonna forfeit. That way I don't actually cause, like, an insane amount of damage to my car. That's what I'm talking about, like, their gear ratio, though. Like, they have no tunability. Like, if your gear ratio's off, you just have to buy a whole different rear end. So, like, I just wasted, like, $10,000 on that. Because there's no tunability. So, I have to back out of the race entirely. I honestly really don't like this car, though, if we're being completely honest. It's just... Yeah, there's... Oh! Well, there goes my controller. Oh! They need to focus a little more on, like, polishing what they have. like, because they spend a lot of time, like, designing, like, this last 2 cars they added, which were really just 1 car. They spent forever designing that car. They've been promising multiplayer for over a year now. And, like, they just still don't have it. Meanwhile, you got another game right now that's in development that follows the exact same concept, so you really think they'd be punching it up to try to, like, get, like, their stuff done before this other game. I can't remember what the name of it off the top of my head is. But, like, for every game idea release, there's going to be clones, and when they put the game in early release, they really got to kind of realize that. And, you know, sometimes it makes it so you have to start actually getting the features in your game instead of just talking about what you're going to do. Like, it's a really good game, but it feels like they're, like, falling into the same trap as all the other ones where they just kind of, like, pause and delay. They also really offer no incentive for, like, the bigger streamers to actually stream their game, like, at all. Like, a lot of game companies will, like, offer incentives to get bigger streamers into, like, actually stream their games. Like, that way they can actually get their name out there. Because, like, people like me can stream their game, but I stream for a small audience. Most of the people who watch the stream already have the game and they're just looking for tips and tricks. You know, if they were to get somebody like Neebs to stream their game, their exposure would be absolutely phenomenal. But, like, the fact that you don't find out that they have a Discord until after you buy the game is kind of silly, because that would be, like, their #1 advertising platform. The fact that they don't, like, reach out to streamers to say, hey, we have this feature, could you, like, try to amplify on it or something like that? It's kind of silly. Advertise. And get multiplayer in here, damn it. Okay, let's see if that's better. Like, my biggest problem with this game is it's a game I enjoy for short periods of time, then I get incredibly bored of it. And I won't play it for a long while. And the reason I get incredibly bored is because they limit playability on things that are absolutely silly, right? Like the fact that the car I do can never truly be unique to me. Any car I make, there's going to be 50 other people that have an exact same car, or have the exact same car, because I'm not allowed to do any type of personalization really to the car. Like, you know how great it'd be to be able to pull out a paint tool and just be able to, like, apply paint a decal, or even just stamp decals onto my vehicle specifically where I want them. Instead, I got this. And the sad part is their decals will overlap each other and look like crud. Like, for example, this detail will cover up the writing on that detail. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, this detailing looks like a kid made it. It's not very good. This game has been out for long enough to where you should be able to actually make your car somewhat unique. I can't even make it visually unique. But if I had to critique the game at all on anything whatsoever, it would be this. How freaking stupid does that look? The game has been out for long enough for them to come up with a solution to this. When you see a drag car, the wheels never stick out that far. The reason they don't is because they shorten the half shaft and bring the suspension in. They'll cut the wheel tub and the wheel will fit inward rather than outward. This is silly. The fact that the game has been out for this long and this is still a thing is absolutely Babytown Frolics. But they won't listen to anybody's opinion unless you're Hurst. If you're Hurst Quasar, though, they'll listen. By the way, I recommend you check out his channel. It's actually really good. Hello. Sorry, that kind of turned into a rant. I get irritated every time I put tires on this car and I realize that I can never actually make it look good. Oh. Kind of hate the fact that, like, I also set a goal for this stream that I thought would be almost impossible to achieve, and I've already achieved it. Because, like, the goal for this one was to become rich. Well, we got $4 million worth of cars. So technically, like, yeah, we've already achieved this goal. Oh, we're already pro racing too, so we've already kind of capped out on the races, even though we've only done like half the tracks. Which is kind of good, because I really didn't want to do any of the other tracks, because they're kind of like garbage, so I only focused on the ones that are good. Technically, this is already going to get edited down to a video, because, like, it's done. Like, we already did it. So, like, the next video that's going to be released is actually going to be this one edited down, because this is actually the end of this series. Because, like, Road to Riches, we're already rich. And we've already explored, like, all the customization they actually have, like, available. I guess I was wrong. We only got like $2 million worth of cars. Still, though, kind of insane that, like, that's the case. Guess we can just make one more, like, or we can, like, do up our main vehicles, like, in their final form. That might be something we can do. Yeah, I might be entertained. I just wish they'd add more customization, like, that you could make your vehicle look, like, better and stuff like that. That would be, like, my only gripe to it. I'm super excited for where it's gonna be. It's just the question on when will it be there. You know what I mean? Like, how long are we gonna have to wait for like key features of this game that is going to make it good? Like the ability to paint your car and actually make your car unique to you. Um, the ability to tune your vehicle, like actually tune your vehicle without having to like buy a whole new rear or a whole new differential system. Because like it's just kind of silly. Like, when am I going to be able to actually tune out my gear ratios? Tires that don't clip through the fenders, multiplayer, things that are actually promised. The ability to adapt your ride height to make your vehicle actually good looking. Like, the fact that I can never truly make a car that's going to be unique to me is kind of silly. Um, Especially when, from what I hear, there's already talks of a number two being or getting started. So you're already talking about making a number two, and you don't even have one out of early release. It's like a video game trap that these places fall into. And you kind of they ruin their games when they do stuff like that. Like, finish one, then focus on two. Don't pull your resources away from the first one until the second one's done. That seems fairly common sense. Doesn't really seem like a hard concept to grasp. Yeah, like there's a lot of hope that it will get better, but the problem is like when I bought this game, I was like, oh my god, somebody finally made a game like Gearhead Garage. Because you remember Gearhead Garage back in the 90s, that game was like the pinnacle. Like, even up until now, it is a prime example of what a game should be, what the fan base actually wants. Um, like, for example, when they made the Midga, we'll look at the Midga, or like I'll get a Midga, and we'll look at it. They they added this car. Now, this car is really something kind of cool, but it was done in a way that is absolutely silly, and it kind of shows where they're planning on going, right? Because people want the ability to customize the car. Add body kits. Like, make it so I can buy different bumpers for my car to give my car a special, unique look, right? But they're not planning on doing that, and I can actually tell you exactly how you know that they have no intentions on doing it. Because at the same time that they released this car, they released this car, which is a body kitted version of that car. So that states that they're never actually planning on releasing like bumpers, body kits, wide bodies, or even adaptability of suspension, because they released a body kit version of this vehicle. So all the time designing into this would have been senseless. Now all that car is a version. The only thing really different is like these body fender things and the suspension that comes on it, right? Now when they went through the modeling, they fully modeled out the bumpers. You can see like right here on like the cliff of it, like they fully modeled out this bumper, which means they could have made something that just over clicked on the fenders and stuff like that to kind of make it like wide body. But they actively chose not to. No, we're gonna do the body work on this because we're at the end of the series anyway. So you can see what it looks like when it looks nice. It looks like a very nice car, but we waited multiple months on it. It's like how when I first streamed this, my favorite car was the Buff and Bang, that muscle car that I was driving. Hey. What? Um, but the Buff and Bang had like a problem where you drove up the road and you'd like nail in your frickin' like your this would get all smashed up and stuff like that. It took them forever to fix that, even though like it was a lot of complaints. Add in seats, interior components that you can actually put into your vehicle. in different colors and stuff like that. Like, these are just small things that would not take very long to implement at all. Like, it wouldn't take long for you to model this or add in a bunch of seat textures and make it so like I could actually put a seat in the same way I can change my steering wheel in the game. Add it as a DLC, people would buy it. Like, I would pay for these DLCs. 100% I would pay for them. And I know most of the players would. So, like, if you're hurting for money enough to already be in talks about making a number 2, just make DLCs. People will pay for them. Like, as long as the DLC adds enough content to the game to make it worth it, then there's no reason as to why not. You know, maybe I should start a new video series where I critique games. But, like, it's sad because this is one of my favorite games. It's just the issues become more and more glaring. Like, I'll play it for like a month or two, and then the issues become so overwhelming that I'll put it down. I won't touch it until an update, which means I won't touch it for several months because they go so long between updates. And, like, I know what people are going to say. They're going to be like, oh, well, it has a small developing team, but that's why you pick small projects that have a huge impact, right? Like, it's okay to have a small development team and take a while between upload or to updates and stuff like that, but you can pick small projects that have a big impact. Like I said, the interiors, model up seats. It take maybe a week and a half to, like, add the ability to actually paint your vehicle. You know, there's so many games have it. Most of their competitor games have it. It takes the creativity out of the developer's hands and puts it into the player's hands. And by doing that, it will make the player feel more attached to the vehicles in the game, right? The more the creativity of the vehicle has to do with them, the more attached they're going to be to the game. What it has going for it is they've nailed down, like, the financials. The financials are 100% nailed down. You know, I'm half completed with the game and I'm already filthy rich. Like, for example, the best way to make money, and we did not explore it, and I'll show you now that the series is pretty much done, is I can buy this car for $2,000, right? So keep in mind, oh, not this one. So I bought this car for $2,000. Now I can take this car, put it up on a thing, pull the engine out of this car, fix it for $800. So now we're into this car for $200, or no, or like $2,500. Either way. Hey, welcome to the channel. We kind of just finished up this series, so, like, right now we're kind of just, like, going over the overview of the video. But thank you so much for joining us. So, like, one of the biggest gripes of the game is I just made a profit on that car. Like, a huge profit on that car. And all I took off from it was the engine. Now I could sell the car for half the money I bought the car for, or I could pull this transmission out. Well, not the transmission because it's broken, but this rear end. So, like, all I have to do is part out the cars and I can, like, become an absolute millionaire super, super quick. And they kind of fix that in a sense if you want to fix the car by making the repair price of the initial body work super expensive. Although, with that said, the cars are very nice looking. It is fun to do the races and stuff like that, but I really wish I could just, like, you know, make the car look more unique to me and less like a clone of what everybody else has made a million times. Like, especially as, like, a content creator, because, like, no matter what I make, there's going to be 50 other people who have made the exact same thing. So there's no real incentive to stream this game. I mean, like, we worked on it for, what, 4 days, and I achieved the goal. Revhead Road to Riches, but we're already rich. I did half the races. I'm already pro level racer. I've already won all the cars that you can. I've already won all the cars that you can actually win. And that's on medium difficulty. Like, that wasn't even low. Yeah, customization would be phenomenal. Because, like, the problem is I sped through the content because of the fact that there's no actual customization I can do to the vehicles. So, like, my series is done. Now I'm going to move on to the next game. And the next game is going to look even better, which means more people are going to pay attention to the next game because the next game is more complete, even though it was released sooner than this game, and they've had half the time to work on it. So I'm going to move on to the next game, and the next game in comparison is going to make this game look like crap because they just don't have any customization, and because I had to speed through this game essentially because there was nothing to slow me down. There was nothing to halt my progress. There was nothing to halt anything. So ways that they could do that is, one, yeah, and that's exactly it. When everything looks the same, there's no incentive to want to continue to play. I'll put this game down, and I will not touch this game until the next update. Like, I will actually uninstall it from my library, and that's how it goes because there's no customization. There's no incentive to want to actually do anything. Like, for example, they got their Discord, which I highly recommend you check out. I'm not going to give the link because I don't know if I can, but and I'd hate to make them angry, but like, you can take your cars and post your creations in there. But one thing that you notice from looking at the creations is they are all the same. There's very little variation between any of them because there is an ultimate build, because there's no tune-in, because there's no ability to play or tune. So there is one ultimate build that everybody does, right? Like, we actively chose not to do it, but because of that, my car would never be as fast as theirs. And as far as visuals go, there's so little that you can actually do. Like, I can't post the car and be like, oh, hey guys, look at this amazing creation I made, because I didn't make it. You know, it was designed by the developers, because the developers didn't really want the player to have the creativity, so they never bothered modeling it in. I can't change out the seats. I can't raise or lower the vehicle without buying a whole new freaking strut. Like, they should have adjustable struts you can buy so that you can variate your strut, or your raise and your lower and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, like, for example, like, let's think back to when we did, like, our Ranch Sim one. Oh my god, I could have done the Ranch Sim series for another several months and been completely happy. If it hadn't been for the update of Racing the World, I would have done it for the next several months, and I would have been completely happy. And it seemed like the viewers loved to watch it. It got a lot of engagement, a lot of compliments, right? Or like Monbozos. Monbozos still is my most viewed video at 14K. 14,000 views for Monbozos. Why? Because I was able to punch that video full of everything. So it did really good, right? Because they're constantly updating the game. They're constantly adding new cars. They're constantly adding new customization. And I can truly make a vehicle that is unique. It doesn't copy the same platform. I can post a picture of a vehicle and be like, hey guys, look what I made. Because I actually made it, you know what I mean? Like, there was customization to it. And because, like, there was other stuff to focus on. Right? Like, you're telling me that I can take my car and blow down these streets going as fast as I want and not get pulled over. Right? There's no fine system. There's nothing to knock your progress back, right? So, like, and I understand that they don't want, like, the whole street racing police aspect or whatever, but it seems kind of silly that they have street racing in the game, right? Like, they incentivize you to go race down the street, but there's no incentivization to keep it. Or even, like, there's no traffic. So I'm driving down the road, I don't have to worry about any other car on the road. So I can just drive like an absolute maniac. To me, that's just silly. It's incredibly silly. But yeah, so this is the end of this series. I mean, if they do another update, we'll come back and maybe take another look at it. Hopefully it will be better. Personally, I don't know what you guys think. I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below. Whether we should even do this series again or not, I don't know. It wasn't that impressive to me. I mean, I like the car game, but like as far as streaming goes, it's just really hard to make a concisive or any concisive content with this game. Hopefully they'll add multiplayer soon, so like we could do derbies and stuff like that. That'd be cool to be able to turn jalopies into derby cars, go have derbies with your friends and stuff like that. You know, like have banger races, like where you slam into your friends and stuff like that. That'd be super cool. They need to take the restart race option out of the games, like on certain difficulties. Like only easy, you should be able to restart the race. I mean, we played without restarting races, but like I could crash my car, hit restart race, and then all the damages to my car would be repaired. We played without that option, but honestly, on medium difficulty, that option shouldn't be there. But pros, cons are that the pro would be the car looks good, but there's no actual customization that you can do to the vehicle yourself, being the con. So every car is going to look the same. Pro, the racing's really good. The AI for the racing is incredibly good. Like the races are actually semi-difficult to win. Con being that, well, for the racing, there actually really isn't many cons. Aside from the fact that you can't really adjust your gear ratio, so you have to buy like a whole new rear end and your ride height and stuff like that, so that the vehicle might handle weirdly around corners. Pro, the building's really easy to the car game. Like you don't have to understand vehicles to play this game, so it's not like Car Mechanic Simulator where you have to have a fundamental understanding of a vehicle to be able to enjoy the game. Can't really think of any cons in the building or in the actual creation of the engine and building and stuff like that to this game. It's actually pretty spot on. They did that really well. It would be great if you could buy a house so that you didn't have to sleep in a hotel. So I guess my con in that aspect would be that you like only sleep in one hotel in this whole freaking game. Like there's no, you can buy more garage space, but you can't buy any house. They added free roam, like the ability to get out of your car and walk. But honestly, I would like to just be able to park my car in the front yard so that I could drive by my load of cars. Like, make that an option. If your computer ain't good enough to handle it, then you can disable that option, you know what I mean? But it should be an option. I'd like to be able to get out of my car and walk up to some of the stuff that they modeled. Like, add a button for me to be able to get out of my car. Because, like, I can walk around the map, but I can only walk around the map from the garage. So, like, I can't drive to the top of their mountain peak, get out of my car, and overlook the map. So, that would be, like, an idea to think about. Make it so I could park my car and get out of it. So that I could actually explore the beautiful map they made. Because they did truly make a beautiful map. Add AI traffic on the roads. There's something to slow me down when I'm driving to the car garage. Or the car parts garages and stuff like that. Add a junkyard that I can go visit to buy these cars so I can walk around the cars rather than getting them from the magazine. This magazine, like, at first I was like, well, I understand why they would have something like this, but they've had this system long enough to upgrade it so that I could actually go buy the cars. Right, they added a tow truck, but you can only tow one car to your garage a day to work on it, and it's just not worth it. There's no money in buying a tow truck. We didn't explore it because it's just not good. But yeah, in this game you can buy a tow truck and you can tow broken down cars off the side of the road and bring them back to your garage, but you can only do like one a day. And it might get you a couple $100s for the vehicle repair, so it's just not worth doing. But how cool would it be if, like, I broke down my car and I had to take the tow truck to go tow it back to the garage? I think that'd be super cool. Um, so like, I guess it just seems like there's a lot of features that are only half done. The other thing is the cars that they decided to build. Like they made a car game in Australia with American car designs, Russian car designs, American car design, Japanese car design, Russian car design, Russian car design, American car design, American car design, American car design. Where the hell are the Holdens? Why is there not an Australian car design anywhere in this game? How does that make sense? Like, you literally base it in Australia. I mean, they got the driver San Francisco car in here. You know what, Carter? Like the actual, like they actually modeled the driver San Francisco vehicle. Like, let me see if I can refresh it to find it. I'm gonna refresh the magazines till I can find it. Then there's the other thing. I know exactly what cars have what engines. This one's gonna have one of two engines. It's either gonna have an SL, or it's gonna have a $30,000 engine in it. Sorry. So it's either gonna have a Euroa or a worthless engine. So like you inadvertently learn what vehicles to purchase. Yeah, see, but this one's gonna be the L6. But I bet you the next one we buy won't. The next one will have a V8. And it'll have a super powerful, really expensive V8 that I could slap into my car to make my car God-powered. So, like, you learn exactly what vehicles to buy. Like, for example, I can buy this custom mechanics truck right here. I bought this car for $19,000, but because of the engine it has in it, I can sell that engine for exactly the same price I bought this car for. Oh, no, more. So I actually made a profit from selling the engines. And now I have all these brand new parts that I can literally just take and very quickly like, watch this. So now I can sell that for $1,000. I've already made $2,000 profit on this truck, right? So we go to the magazine and we just look for something that's gonna become incredibly valuable upon repairing, right? So we're gonna look for a car that we know has racing points, because for some reason you can buy cars with racing points. They slap racing points on the cars to make their value worth more so that you buy the car for more, which is silly because then you can take and you can buy a crash vehicle, or even like we'll do this wrecked Buff and Bang convertible, because convertibles are worth a fortune in this game. So we just slap on a quick repair, paint it. Actually, no, we're only going to put the Narnu parts on it, aside from the engine, because we sold the engine. Oh, that's not the right one. There it is. Oh, no, that's not the right one. There it is. And look at that. Once we slap an engine in it, it's completely restored, but even just putting the suspension on it has made this car worth a fortune, like without the engine. If we throw an engine on there, this car will double in value and become worth almost 40 grand. So essentially, just off from those two cars, we make almost like $80,000 total. Or 60,000. So like, it kind of gotta work the economy to this game a lot. We haven't found the driver San Francisco vehicle yet, but we will. Or like, take for example, this one's worth 60 grand, right? Comes with 310 race points. I've literally spent less than 10 minutes to make this car worth more than $120,000. And it comes with the super high performance engine. Like, I'm not saying you have to make the game super hard, but keep in mind we're playing on a medium difficulty. So we're not playing on the easy difficulty. The other thing is if you remember when we started this, they awarded us this car for winning. Not winning, we made 3rd place, but they gave us this car. But the license plate says 1st place, medium. Right? So like, they gave us that car for essentially nothing on medium difficulty. If I go to hard and I get 1st place in that race, there's no car. To me, that's kind of silly. But, so what do you think of the series? Let me know in the comments below. To the people watching this afterwards, we're probably going to start playing a different game now. Because kind of really bored of this one. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. So they added the ability to walk around, and it is incredibly wonky. But it would be nice if I could just get out of my car, drive up to, like, for example, that peak up there, right, and overlook this, or actually be able to actually explore, like, the map a little bit, like drive my car to a location, get out of my car, and be able to walk around. That would be so cool. In my opinion. Okay. What game should we play now? Let's take a look at what we got. We can just start the next series on here because, or on this stream, because I'm going to end up taking and editing it down into a video, which I think is just going to be a critique video. Rather than the Road to Riches, because honestly, like, all the streams that we did will end up being like a 30-minute video probably. Although I do like streaming the record play. I think recording the stream play is probably going to be the move for the future because, you know, it keeps me 100% honest. Okay. Sorry, just one sec. I'm just looking for a game to play. I'm going to read off some titles and that anybody in the chat can say yay or nay to. We could do Raft. Raft is really only fun, though, with other people. Supermarket Simulator's kind of boring. Supermarket Simulator was a mistake. Like to buy. At least for right now, because, like, it's such a wonky game. Like, I made the mistake of buying into all the YouTubers playing it. Because, like, they would play it and they'd be like, oh my god, this game is so good. It's not wonky at all. They would, like, intentionally hide, like, all the wonk. Like, that's why, like, I critique the game honestly, because I don't want somebody to buy a game off of my stream and be like, oh, I can't believe I bought that. You know what I mean? So, like, I try to be very honest about, like I won't hide anything to the game. Because the last thing I would want to do is be responsible for somebody buying something that they would not like. Because games are just too expensive nowadays. Like, I would feel horrible if I talk somebody into buying a $25 game that they hated. Like, honestly, like, I bought Revhead because I was watching Hurst play it. And I feel like his videos didn't really portray the game in an accurate light. Like, I feel like it was very much a, like, he only glorified the positive parts of the games, which, to be fair, that's kind of what his stream is, or his videos are. Like, they're designed to be, because, you know. But, like, it was kind of buyer's remorse. Because, like, for the first month I played it, it was an amazing game. Still is an amazing game, it's just a lot of unfulfilled promises at this point. That's another thing I don't like. How come game developers can sell a game with a roadmap to promises? Give you a time frame to which they say they're going to do it in. Push back the time frames. Add features that were never even discussed. Like, that should be like a form of false advertising. Like when a game developer's like, oh, we're going to put this in the game. We're going to put that in the game. But let's not put any of that in the game, actually, because we don't want to. We sold you the game under the pretense that this is what we were going to do, but we just don't want to do it. Like, Steam kind of has to have a little bit of accountability on that front. Like, let's say, for example, 7 Days to Die being the perfect example. Now, don't keep in mind, I love 7 Days to Die. It's an amazing game. But they set an early release for like 10 years. Did nothing that was promised, was not held accountable to their promises at all. And now they, like, actively do things that the player base that they have doesn't want because they're trying to appease to a new player base while completely exiling the old player base. Like, I have so many friends who I've played that game with over the years who used to love that game who just won't touch it anymore. Because it's such an affront to the promises that they made. Like, Bandits have been being promised forever. I mean, they're actually gearing towards it now, but the new company they got working on it, which I am assuming it's a new company because of the new design they have and stuff like that, is really good. But, like, the problem is like, they pick up a team of developers. That team of developers wants to make the game as unique as possible. So they completely cut apart every good feature, and then they add in features that are slightly okay. Like, taking out the water bottles. That makes no sense. If I was in the middle of the apocalypse and I took a drink of water, I would put that bottle away. I would carry that bottle. That bottle's going to be useful. You know, if I go buy another water source, I can slap some water. I understand not being able to craft it because not everybody's going to know how to blow glass or make glass bottles, but don't gut the entire feature. Just kind of silly. Okay. The Steam doesn't want to work, so it looks like we're just launching whatever I have on my desktop for right now. Where the skies are so blue, sweet home Alabama, Mom, I'm coming home to you. I swear it's true. Well, my name is Jimmy. His name's Greg Beal. Me, him, and you, we went to the same school. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Camilla sleeping in the background. She saws logs. She just goes... Hello. My stream asked if that was you sleeping in the background. Yeah, because you're going... Want to say hi to people, Camille? Okay, have a good nap, darling. Okay, so...